National Aeronautics and Space Administration has lately been engaging in explorations without the knowledge of the public, but they're not doing this alone. The millionaire tech genius Elon Musk is a part of this mission with NASA, and what they have done together is about to change everything. The duo combined resources together for research to explore the depths of our ocean, and what they met underwater during this mission was not expected. This discovery was so terrifying it could no longer be kept a secret. What terrifying discovery did Elon Musk and NASA make in the depths of our ocean, and why was it revealed by Elon Musk and not NASA? Join us as we explore how Elon Musk just revealed NASA's terrifying underwater discovery. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk has been secretly making some moves with NASA, and their expedition seemed to be the scientific collaboration of the decade until their mission went sideways. We recently discovered that NASA and Elon Musk had worked together on a plethora of missions, and some of these missions took place in the Arctic. It all started when a robot deployed underwater by a team of researchers showed a view nobody expected. This deployed robot was a remotely operated ice-fin underwater vehicle exploring a seawater-filled crevasse in the base of Antarctica's largest ice shelf, when the cameras on the underwater vehicle displayed a sudden change of view. To the surprise of our scientists, the camera showed walls of cloudy, smooth, meteoric ice as it turned green and rougher in texture while transforming into salty marine ice. While this happened, a research team comprising NASA, Elon Musk, and New Zealand researchers was observing this phenomenon 1,900 feet above. Immediately, they recognized this process as proof of ice pumping. This process has never been directly observed in an ice shelf crevasse, so it left the entire team awestruck. Justin Lawrence, a visiting scholar at the Cornell Center for Astrophysics and Planetary Science in the College of Arts and Sciences, commented about the atmosphere in the room and how it felt to have watched such an unexpected occurrence. "We looked at the ice that had just melted less than 100 feet below, flowed into the crevasse, and then refrozen, and then it just got weirder as we went higher up. The ice-fin robot's extraordinary look inside a crevasse and further analysis showed over a century of geological processes lurking under the ice shelf. This discovery was so shocking to the entire research team it was detailed in a paper and published. The paper reports came from a 2019 field campaign to Camp Ice Stream, supported by Antarctica New Zealand and other New Zealand research agencies. It was led by Christina Hulber, a professor at the University of Otago, and other colleagues. With support from Elon Musk and NASA's astrobiology program, a research team led by Brittany Schmidt, Associate Professor of Astronomy and Earth and Atmospheric Sciences in A&S and Cornell Engineering, was able to join the mission and deploy IceFin. Schmidt's Planetary Habitability and Technology Lab has been working on IceFin for almost a decade, and the results it returned surely made them proud. Combined with recently published investigations of the fast-changing Thwaites Glacier also observed by a second IceFin vehicle, the analysis is expected to enhance sea level rise models by showing the first high-resolution ocean views. This also includes the seafloor and ice interactions at contrasting glacier systems on the West Antarctic ice sheet. Thwaites Glacier, open to warm ocean currents, is one of the continent's most unstable glaciers. Camber Ice Stream, where the ocean is mostly iced, has been stagnant since the late 1800s. Camber presently offsets some of the ice loss from western Antarctica, but could cause an increase in the area's contribution to sea level rise by 12% if it activates. Antarctica is a complex system, and it's important to understand both ends of the spectrum. Systems already undergoing rapid change, as well as those quieter systems where future change poses a risk, Schmidt said. Observing Camber and Thwaites together helps us learn more. NASA and Elon Musk provided financial resources for IceFin's development and the Camber exploration to extend ocean exploration beyond Earth. Marine ice found in the crevasse could be an analog for situations on Jupiter's icy moon Europa, the target of NASA's Europa Clipper orbital mission planned to launch next year. And later, lander missions might one day search directly for microbial life in the ice. IceFin is well equipped with a full variation of oceanographic tools on a modular frame less than 10 inches in diameter and over 12 feet long. It was lowered on a tether through a borehole the New Zealand researchers created through the ice shelf with hot water. During 3 dives that stretched over 3 miles near the grounding zone where Cam transitions to the floating Ross Shelf, Icefin mapped 5 crevasses ascending 1 and the sea floor while recording water conditions including pressure, salinity, and temperature. The team also studied different ice attributes for valuable water mixing and melt rate details. They included ripples, vertical runnels, golf ball-like dimples, and the weirder formations around the crevasse's top. These are globs of ice and finger-like protrusions that look like brinicles. According to the researchers studying the ice pumping in the crevasse could also possibly contribute to the relative stability of the Ross Ice Shelf, the world's largest by area the size of France, compared to Thwaites Glacier. It's a way these big ice shelves can protect and heal themselves, said Peter Washam, a polar oceanographer on the Icefin science team and the paper's second author. A lot of the melting that happens deep near the grounding line, that water then refreezes and accretes onto the bottom of the ice as marine ice. On the sea floor, Icefin mapped parallel sets of ridges that the team believes were caused and left behind by ice shelf crevasses. This also has a record of 150 years of activity since the Cam stream stagnated. As its grounding line retreated, the ice shelf thinned, making the crevasses lift away. As time passed, the ice's slow movement altered the crevasses seaward of the ridges. We can look at those seafloor features and directly link them to what we saw on the ice base, said Lawrence, the paper's lead author. We can, in a way, rewind the process. NASA and Elon Musk supported this research through the Planetary Science and Technology from Analog Research Programs Project Rise Up and Future Investigators in NASA Earth and Space Science and Technology Program. New Zealand's Antarctic Science Platform also came into support, as well as the United States Antarctic Program. Even the Victoria University of Wellington's Hot Water Drilling Initiative was part of this research project. However, that was not the only machine that was made with Elon Musk and NASA's collaboration. Since the space race began up until the observation of planets out in the final frontier, scientists and astronomers have known that it would require more than a doggy paddle to explore the oceans below the icy surfaces of some of the solar system's most intriguing moons. Elon Musk is also looking to colonize a planet with Mars in sight, so he teamed up with NASA again since they had the same ambition. Their collaboration set the work pace, and NASA engineers immediately began working on an underwater rover. This underwater rover, they believe, could one day handle the challenges brought by ocean worlds like Saturn's moon Enceladus and Jupiter's moon Europa. And a team has been working on such a robot called Buoyant Rover for Under Ice Exploration, or BRUI, for a few years now. The ice shells covering these distant oceans serve as a window into the oceans below, and the chemistry of the ice could help feed the life within those oceans. Kevin Hand, lead scientist on the BRUI project at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California, said in a statement, "Here on Earth, the ice covering our polar oceans serves a similar role, and our team is particularly interested in what is happening where the water meets the ice." The tests will be done at Australia's Casey Research Station along the coast of Antarctica, far south of Australia. There, BRUI will spend a month adventuring both the inland lakes and the ocean while it finds where the top of the water meets the bottom of the ice. We found that life often lives at interfaces, both the sea bottom and the ice-water interface at the top, Andy Klesch, lead engineer on the BRUI project, said. Most submersibles have a challenging time investigating this area, as ocean currents might cause them to crash or they could waste too much power maintaining position. BRUI is created to manage these challenges via buoyancy. It crawls along the bottom of the ice held up by the denser water below. The rover is a bar about 1 meter long with a big wheel on each end. NASA's robot is also programmed to turn itself on and off as needed between collating measurements scientists are most interested in, which will let it stay locked below the ice for longer periods of time without recharging. However, in the long run, this rover is programmed to do more than just rove. It will also carry instruments which include 2 cameras and probes measuring factors like oxygen levels, water temperature, and pressure and salinity, according to the statement. And as data from BRUI's first excursions return, scientists will be thrilled when they start adding instruments to the tests. Still, all the testing in the world can't prepare BRUI for the biggest challenge of extraterrestrial exploration, recognizing potential life forms that could look unrelated to Earth's. Dan Beresford, a mechanical engineer on the project, explained better in a NASA statement. "We only really know how to detect life similar to that on Earth. so it's possible that the very different microbes might be difficult to recognize. This statement, including the trip down to the depths of our ocean, also sparked the curiosity of scientists working under Elon Musk, and their curiosity confirmed another discovery that had been speculated by NASA. A decade ago, a couple of scientists were on a NASA-sponsored ocean expedition when they discovered huge numbers of phytoplankton thriving underneath sea ice in the Arctic Ocean. Now, scientists working with Elon Musk are using underwater instruments and a NASA satellite to find more insights about this odd discovery, and they have found proof of potentially significant blooms beneath the sea ice around. Phytoplankton is to the ocean what grasses are to land. They are plant-like floating organisms that absorb the sunshine, sponge mineral nutrients, and create their own energy through photosynthesis. Phytoplankton thrive almost anywhere you'll see open, sunlit patches of ocean. When conditions are proper enough, these collections of microscopic cells can become good enough to the extent that they become visible from space. They are a crucial food source for other life in the ocean and a key carbon recycler and disposer for the planet. But until recent studies, the conventional wisdom was that the ice cover prevented the growth of phytoplankton for most of the year in the ocean around Antarctica because very little sunlight could penetrate the water below. However, new evidence shows just enough cracks, thin spots, and gaps to let sufficient daylight through the sea ice. Around Antarctica, the compact sea ice seems pretty impenetrable to light, says Chris Horvat, a sea scientist at Brown University and the lead author of the new study. In most satellites, wide and coarse views, ice cover can appear uniform and sheet-like, reinforcing the idea that light would be too scarce and faint for plant-like life below. But viewed from and below the ocean's surface, and now with the laser eyes of NASA's Ice, Cloud, and Land Elevation Satellite 2, ISAT-2, scientists see that Antarctic sea ice is actually riddled with fractures and openings. Sunlight slips through the cracks and provides the energy for notable under-ice blooms in the Southern Ocean. Horvat and colleagues pulled together 3 lines of evidence. First, they examined data collected by Argo floats, underwater instruments that measure different properties of the ocean from the surface to roughly 7,000 feet, 2,000 meters in depth. These cylinder-shaped instruments drift with currents and rise and fall through the ocean, occasionally surfacing to relay their data back to land-based laboratories via satellite transmitters. Argo floats deployed since 2014 can detect the presence of chlorophyll and particulate carbon in the water, both of which can indicate the presence of phytoplankton. Examining data from more than 2,000 under-ice dives over 7 years, the research team found that nearly all measurements showed phytoplankton accumulating even before the sea ice had retreated in the southern hemisphere spring and summer. In a quarter of those measurements, enough phytoplankton had amassed to suggest blooming events were underway. Given those observations, the team analyzed ice conditions with ISAT-2 data to understand where and how much light penetrated the cracks and openings in Antarctic sea ice. The primary instrument on ISAT-2 is a laser altimeter, which sends pulses of light toward the Earth's surface and then measures to within a billionth of a second how long it takes individual photons to return to the satellite. From this information, scientists can derive the height of sections of ice and also spot the cracks and gaps between them. Finally, building off ice cover models from the Coupled Model Intercomparison Project Phase 6, Horvat and colleagues estimated the location and thickness of the Southern Ocean ice cover and how it moved. They also derived estimates of photosynthetically available radiation PAR, a measure of the sunlight needed to sustain blooms in the ocean. They found 1.2 to 1.9 million square miles, 3 to 5 million square kilometers, an area larger than India of the ice-covered Southern Ocean could allow enough light to penetrate and support some under-ice blooms. Scientists have talked about the potential for blooms here, but this is the first time we are seeing them under the ice in Antarctic waters, said Horvat. The blooms have probably always been there, we just haven't had the capacity to observe them. This finding opens up a new way of thinking about life around and under the ice. Sea ice is more interesting and diverse than people think, and it can support a wide range of ecological communities.